I transmigrated with the cheat of having unlimited white porridge, thinking I could become a saint who heals the world and at least make a living. But when I stepped out of the room, I saw what kind of world this was. Starving people everywhere, dying from hunger, the common people freezing to death in dilapidated temples, and the court. The high-ranking officials above me were only interested in the power struggles. At that moment, all my caution as a transmigrator vanished. I found a broken earthenware pot and conjured up a full pot of white porridge. In an instant, all the refugees rushed over like madmen. Porridge! Porridge! A god! A god descended to earth! Please, give my child a bite! However, I could save people, but I couldn't save this damned world. Before I could even distribute porridge for a few days, the officials arrived. The burly head constable kicked over my porridge pot, pointed at my nose, and cursed me as a madman, saying that I had set up a private porridge stall, incited a disturbance, and violated the law. Then I was taken to the palace. The county magistrate sat on the high platform, looking at me as if I were dead. "Your Honor," he said, "I have no ill intentions. I am just saving people. Where would ordinary people get so much white porridge? This is sorcery! This is premeditated rebellion! Just because I gave a person who was starving to death a bite of food, I became." Those who rebelled were punished with 50 strokes of the cane plus 3 days and expelled from the county. In the dungeon, the head of the guard who had arrested me came to see me with a lantern, his eyes filled with pity and mockery. "Young man, how can you be so ignorant of the times, engaging in unauthorized disaster relief? Seeing I wasn't a bad person, told me to leave quickly?" He would tell everyone I died in prison from my injuries. After I got out, I thought about it carefully. If it wasn't disaster relief, and it wasn't porridge, then what? So I found a Taoist robe, some talismans, and thought of an excuse to cover it up. I stopped an old man on the roadside who was starving and handed him the bowl of white porridge. Seeing the plight of those in distress, I, a humble Taoist priest, have bestowed upon you a cup of talismanic water. "This is porridge! Old man, you've mistaken me. Unauthorized disaster relief is illegal. This talismanic water, prepared by my samadhi fire, contains the power of the heavenly venerable to temporarily alleviate hunger. Look again carefully. What is this?" The old man, looking at the steaming white porridge, understood at that moment, and I understood too. It's talismanic water, immortal talismanic water. Thank you, immortal master, for bestowing this magical water. From then on, the world lost a kind-hearted porridge giver and gained a Taoist priest who pretends to be a charlatan. But talismanic water alone isn't enough to stave off hunger, so I devised another plan. I scattered beans along the way. These beans were produced by the system. They grow quickly and are resistant to heat. I told them this was scattering beans to create ice, but actually, it was just to ensure everyone had enough to eat. Unbeknownst to me, countless people had gathered behind me. An old man, trembling, knelt before me. "I am a living god of this Taoist temple. Please, Taoist master, leave your honorific title. Let's call him the Great Teacher." Hearing those 4 words, I suddenly awoke with a start. I was actually Mo Yuan! The heavens are dead! The new heaven shall rise! The bowl of porridge in my hand was the shadow of a calamity descending upon the world. As more and more refugees gathered, I knew I couldn't stay here long. Old Liu told me that 30 Li to the south was a savage valley. Although it was filled with miasma and wild beasts, the government troops dared not go there. But danger also meant opportunity and concealment, so I led my group towards the savage valley. Not long after, we encountered the local tribe. They carried crude weapons and wanted to kill us. I didn't back down. Instead, I pulled out my trump card. Food! We are not enemies. We have food to share with you. The savage leader, Jiang San, looked at the steaming bowl of porridge, and the murderous intent in his eyes instantly turned into longing. Under the influence of food, the civilized man and the savage reached a fragile peace. But the good times didn't last long. On the 3rd evening, old Liu stumbled to me. "It's terrible! The soldiers have surrounded us!" I stepped out of the dilapidated temple, and a suffocating sense of oppression greeted me. Hundreds upon hundreds of soldiers, torches in hand, had us, a group of ragged, miserable people, completely surrounded. The officials guarding us, dressed in fine robes, gleamed brightly in the firelight. "Cultists and rebels, listen up! Hand over the sorcerer and you'll be spared death, or you'll be killed without mercy!" The people behind me trembled with fear. Some even wanted to kneel and beg for mercy. Jiang San's hand, gripping his woodcutter's knife, was shaking. He asked me, "What should we do? Fight them. What can we fight with? These refugees who have barely eaten for days, fighting a regular army. That's suicide! But I didn't want to sit and wait to die either. Looking at my emaciated but clear-eyed followers, a crazy idea took shape in my mind. If they don't want us to live, then nobody will have a good life. I lowered my voice, my tone surprisingly calm. Throw all the remaining magic stones into the pot. Quickly, gather dry branches and licorice, and pile them around the Kampa Euro, the more the better. Zhang San, though not understanding, did as he was told. Looking at the mountain of licorice, I straightened my ill-fitting Taoist robe and walked alone to the front lines. You evil Taoist! Come and die! I thought. General, you have no hope of survival. It's fine that you've disturbed my peaceful cultivation so late at night, but why frighten these poor people? Using a private soup kitchen to gather refugees is spreading rumors and plotting evil. At that moment, my last shred of hope shattered. In their eyes, giving food to those starving to death was spreading rumors, and gathering those who couldn't survive together for warmth was plotting evil. In this world, doing good is a sin, living is a sin, even breathing is. It's a crime, I laughed, a laugh both desolate and resolute. Since reasoning fails, since good deeds can't save lives, since the laws of this great Han dynasty can't tolerate even a bowl of life-saving porridge, then it's time for the world to change. I abruptly turned and roared the words buried deep in my heart at the mob behind me, driven to desperation. Zhang San lit the fire, the haystack, already saturated with grease, instantly ignited. A raging fire shot into the sky, illuminating the night like day. This wasn't the fire of self-immolation and despair. It was the beacon of war against this corrupt dynasty. I pointed at the blazing flames, my voice piercing the night. The heavens are dead! The soldiers panicked, their horses trembled. In their terrified gazes, I drew my sword, pointing it at the high-ranking general. Since you won't let the people live, then the people will send you to your deaths. The heavenly venerable laughed in fury, flames burning blood. Brothers, fight me!